reality bends to the architecture of your mind.
Let me tell you something that completely shatters your entire understanding of how reality is put together, because we walk around every single day acting like victims of circumstance, blaming the economy, blaming our bosses, blaming our upbringings, and pointing fingers at the external world as if it is some kind of fixed, immovable wall that we just happen to crash into. But according to the profound mechanics laid out in the Seth material, your physical reality is not happening to you at all. It is literally being printed in real time by your own beliefs. Every single object, every single obstacle, every frustrating traffic jam, and every dollar in your bank account is nothing more than an electromagnetic blueprint that you personally constructed out of your own unexamined assumptions and then forced into physical solidity. You are looking at a mirror and screaming at the reflection because you refuse to realize that you are the one making the facial expressions. We treat physical matter like it is the ultimate truth, like it is the heavy anchor of existence. But matter is actually the shadow. The belief is the object, casting the shadow if you want to change what is showing up on your physical screen. You cannot just reach out and punch the screen or try to rearrange the pixels with physical effort that is like trying to change your reflection. By wiping down the glass with a dirty rag, you have to go straight to the source, straight to the inner psychological machinery, where your beliefs are being generated, because your beliefs are turning into matter, right? Here, right now, in every microsecond of your waking existence. Think about the sheer mind-bending mechanics of how this actually operates underneath the hood of your everyday conscious awareness, because most of you are sleepwalking through your lives, letting random cultural programming and lazy societal defaults do all your heavy lifting, while you wonder why your life looks like an absolute train wreck. Your conscious mind spits out thousands of casual thoughts every single day. But a belief is not just a passing thought. A belief is a thought that you have accepted as an absolute unshakable truth, and the moment you give it that anchor point of conviction, it triggers an electromagnetic charge. Consciousness is not some passive ethereal mist floating around in your skull. It is raw, malleable energy that responds instantly to the blueprint you hand it. When you walk around believing deep down in your bones that people cannot be trusted, or that money is impossibly hard to come by, or that your body is bound to break down, you are handing the universe a precise, hyper-detailed architectural drawing. And because consciousness is inherently creative and inherently compliant to your directives, it takes that blueprint and immediately begins marshalling invisible fields of energy, lining up probabilities, orchestrating synchronicities, and condensing raw data into solid physical matter, just to prove your belief, right? You are literally trapping yourself in a self-fulfilling feedback loop of your own making, because the physical evidence you point to as proof that your life sucks is only appearing there because you insisted on believing it would. It is a closed circuit you think you believe. You project, it materializes, and then you look at the materialization and say, "See, I told you so." You are using your own past creations as a weapon against your future potential. This brings us to the most uncomfortable realization you are ever going to face on this journey, which is the absolute death of your favorite excuse, victimhood. People love to play the victim because it absolves them of responsibility, right? If the world is just random, cruel, and chaotic, then you don't have to do the grueling, heavy, psychological labor of looking in the mirror and admitting that you engineered your own chaos. But Seth strips away every single one of those comforting illusions, leaving you completely naked before the raw power of your own mind. Every time you complain about your job, your relationship, or your health, you are essentially standing in front of the cosmic printer, hitting print on a document you claim you never wanted, while furiously denying that your finger is on the button. The universe doesn't care whether your beliefs are positive or negative, empowering or self-sabotaging. It doesn't have a moral filter that separates the things you want from the things you fear. It only responds to the intensity of your conviction. If you spend Half your day worrying intensely about a disaster happening, your emotional charges acting just as powerfully as a deliberate wish, feeding that electromagnetic blueprint. Until it solidifies right in front of your face, you are constantly manifesting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you are paying attention to it or not. Your life right now is a masterclass in manifestation. It's just that you've been manifesting out of blind habit, unexamined cultural garbage, and inherited trauma instead of conscious, razor-sharp intention. The moment you wake up and realize that every single brick in the prison cell you are sitting in was laid by your own hands, you experience a terrifying vertigo, but immediately followed by the most liberating realization of your entire existence. If you built the cell, you have the keys to tear it down. So how do you actually break the cycle? How do you intercept this relentless belief, the matter printing press, before it churns out another decade of the exact same frustrating garbage? You have to become an aggressive, uncompromising detective of your own inner landscape, hunting down the hidden assumptions that are running your life behind the scenes while you sleep at the wheel. Most people try to change their reality. By fighting the physical symptoms, they try to force themselves to act happier, force themselves to hustle harder, or force themselves to fake a smile while their stomach is tied in knots with anxiety. But that is a fool's errand, because you cannot out-action a conflicting core belief. If your conscious mind says, "I am wealthy," but your deep subconscious belief forged in childhood or picked up from a desperate environment says, "Money slips through my fingers and I am fundamentally unworthy," the subconscious belief wins every single time, because it carries the heavier emotional weight you have to track your physical reality backward, like a detective tracing a crime scene. When you look at an unwanted circumstance in your life, you have to stop whining about it, look it dead in the eye, and ask yourself, what deep hidden premise must I accept as absolute truth in order for this exact scenario to make logical sense? Once you drag that hidden belief out from the dark basement of your subconscious mind and drag it into the glaring light of conscious awareness, it loses its hypnotic grip on you. You realize how absurd it is. You laugh at its sheer stupidity. And in that exact moment of realization, the electromagnetic charge begins to dissolve, starving the physical manifestation of the energy it needs to stay alive. This is the ultimate secret of your power, and it demands an absolute, uncompromising shift in how you wield your consciousness from this second forward. You are not a helpless cork bobbing along on the violent, unpredictable ocean of physical reality. You are the ocean, the storm, and the shore, all wrapped into one magnificent multidimensional entity. Every thought you entertain, every assumption you treat as a default fact, and every core belief you refuse to question is actively dictating the physical landscape of your tomorrow. When you finally grasp that your beliefs are turning into matter right now, you stop wasting your precious energy trying to control other people, trying to manipulate the physical environment, or begging the universe for scraps of luck. You turn inward. You grab the controls of your own mind and you start deliberately, ruthlessly authoring the mental blueprints that deserve to become your physical reality. You stop accepting the cultural trance that tells you life happens to you, and you step fully into your birthright as an active, conscious creator of multidimensional substance. The physical world is completely plastic, entirely malleable, and waiting anxiously for you to stop second-guessing yourself long enough to issue a clear, unshakable command. So stop printing garbage, stop feeding your fears with your attention, and start treating your inner mental space with the sacred, heavy reverence of a master architect, because what you believe today is literally the physical bones, blood, and brick of the world you will wake up inside of tomorrow.
Reality bends to the architecture of your mind.